found a new stomping ground, and it's his old one.
Constant question that Giannis has is, can I win a championship with this roster?
Both sides wanted Giannis to end his career in the same jersey he began it in. But now, the NBA appears headed towards its second blockbuster trade at the deadline in as many years.
The fact is he clearly doesn't want to be there, and you're not going anywhere with him.
Giannis yearns for a chance at more titles, as he should. The Bucks, understandably so, command a king's ransom for the former Finals MVP.
Only the 7th player in the history of the Finals to have a 50-point game.
A hazy fog will soon clear. How long will this take? And what building blocks does Milwaukee receive in return for relinquishing its cornerstone? One move will reshape the entire playoff structure.
KD with Giannis is something to behold. Steph Curry with Giannis, Lord have mercy.
When a force of Giannis's caliber moves, so does the league. We're not talking about rumors anymore. We're talking about far more certainty than uncertainty. So prepare yourself, because very soon, the NBA won't look the same. The only question now is, where does Giannis's new chapter begin?
Justin, thank you. Giannis is the Bucks' all-time leader in points, rebounds, and assists. The only other player who led a franchise in all three categories, LeBron James, Kevin Garnett, and Michael Jordan. For much more, let's send it out to Hannah Storm and the NBA Countdown crew for their thoughts on the future of the Greek Freak. Hannah?
Hey, Kev. Well, you know, because you've been talking about it all week. So have we. I'm here with Wendy, Coach Malone, a big perk. So first, we were talking about this move being made either within the next 6 days before the trade deadline or waiting until later. Who does it benefit and when?
Yeah, so when you talk to other teams in the league, they definitely are talking to Milwaukee. Milwaukee is listening, but they're not sure what Milwaukee's motivation is to do the deal now. And the reason is because the team that has the most incentive to do something now is Golden State, but their offer really won't change. What they can offer now is what they can offer in the summer. Meanwhile, if the Bucks wait till the summer, they will know what their draft pick is. They will know what the rest of the lottery is. They'll know what the Golden State's draft pick is. They'll know Giannis's health, and the teams who are making offers, several of them can improve their offers when the draft comes. So really, especially since they're not really going anywhere this year, I'm not sure why the Bucks would make this deal now unless Giannis forces it and Giannis is injured.
How about a healthy and happy work environment?
Amen.
How about that to start off?
Well, what if your goal is to lose? What if your goal is to tank?
But what I'm saying is, Wendy, okay, you have the remaining of the season. You know, it's been a dark cloud over that organization. You know how miserable it is to walk into that practice facility every single day? Guys are not speaking. I'm willing to bet everything I have that they're not speaking in that locker room to one another. The vibe, the energy is off. Coach, wouldn't you want this to be over with? Seriously.
Well, I put myself in Doc's shoes, and he's trying to get 17 players to buy into playing winning basketball, to sacrifice, to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Then you got a guy over there who's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's really hard for a head coach to keep a group together and find ways to move forward. So I understand the organization may want to wait, but if I'm a coach, I want this to be over with so we can start building something significant as soon as possible.
Be that as it may, this transaction will set up the Bucks for the next 5 to 10 years. They got to get it right. They got to maximize it.
I understand that, Wendy, and we're talking about the Bucks. But don't you think Giannis wanted it to happen now? Because didn't you tell me something about his contract extension?
Well, if he gets it done now, he can extend this summer instead of waiting until literally next calendar year. But Giannis would have to force that to happen. And Giannis has sort of tiptoed around this thing for months now. That would be a transition that he has not gone across.
Well, there's too much tiptoeing. Let's go back. We're talking about today, 2021, they win a championship. They have not won a playoff series since 2022. Mike Budenholzer fired. Adrian Griffin brought in, fired. Hired Doc Rivers. No Holiday, no Chris Middleton. Brooke Lopez got the hell out. There's been no continuity, no chemistry as of late. For me, it's clear. The signs are evident. They've got to make an adjustment and move forward post-Giannis.
How much does it benefit them to not win right now?
They have to not win right now. I know that this isn't what anybody wants to hear. With this draft, the value of this draft, they really should tank the rest of the season. And here's the thing. When Giannis doesn't play, frankly, without trying to be offensive, they're not a good team. They will naturally use without Giannis. If they don't trade him, frankly, Giannis shouldn't play again this season.
We mentioned the word tanking, and the NBA doesn't want to ever hear that word, but it happens. And
well, it's really antithetical, right?
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
To what it's supposed to be.
The hardest part about that is, how can you as a coach, a leader of the franchise, say one day, hey, today we don't want to win right now, but next week, next season, but hey, now we want to win. When you allow losing into your locker room, I think it's really hard to get that back. And
so you can't just turn it on.
It's a delicate balance. I understand that this is a great draft coming up, and I understand the why, but the players in that locker room, they're competitors. They're pros.
And that was the last straw for Kevin Garnett with the Minnesota Timberwolves. When he walked into the locker room and they told him he wasn't playing, they had like 25 games left in the season because they was trying to tank. And he was like, what you mean I ain't playing? You know what I mean? Like, players, it's in your nature to go out there and try to win games.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And then he went and won a championship.
And teamed up with the big fella over here.
The big fella.
We had to get that in,
Could have done without you, Perk.
Before we send it back to SportsCenter. A lot more coming up at 7 o'clock on Countdown. Raptors at the Magic, Pistons at the Warriors.
NBA, where the Knicks host the Blazers tonight, but all eyes are on what New York does off the court. Shams Charania reporting that the Knicks are one of 4 teams considered serious suitors for Giannis Antetokounmpo. New York is currently second in the East, 5.5 games behind the Pistons. NBA reporter Tim Bontemps is on the scene in Midtown Manhattan from the Garden. Tim, the Knicks are among a handful of teams reported to be making an aggressive push for Giannis. Walk us through what the plan would be for each team if they're unable to land the Bucks star. And let's start right there in New York.
Well, Kevin, the theme of the trade deadline has been nothing has been going on, right? There's only one trade that's happened since the start of the season. Trae Young going to the Washington Wizards. And for all 4 of these teams, if they don't get Giannis Antetokounmpo, I would not expect much to happen. Let's start with the Knicks. Obviously, this team traded most of their draft capital to go get Mikal Bridges a couple years ago. They are up near the second apron. They can't really do a lot to change this roster. So if they can't get a Giannis trade done, I think it's safe to assume that this group that James Dolan, the owner of the Knicks, a couple weeks back said he expects to make it to the NBA Finals and, quote, should win a title, he is going to expect this group that we see right now to be the core group that the Knicks have going into the postseason. Now, as for the Miami Heat, we know, Kevin, they go big game hunting all the time. Giannis Antetokounmpo is obviously one of the biggest fish we've seen come potentially onto the trade market in quite some time. But if the Heat do not get Giannis, I would expect them to wait. This is a team that has been patiently waiting for the summer of 2027. Their cap sheet is totally clear that summer except for Bam Adebayo. They're not going to do anything to disrupt that space unless it's to get a guy like Giannis. Now, the Golden State Warriors, Kevin, had a chance to be perhaps the most interesting team going into the trade deadline when they were flying along, winning a ton of home games, and Jimmy Butler was playing great. But the second Jimmy tore his ACL, things really shifted for the Warriors. Now, if they can get Giannis Antetokounmpo to pair with Steph Curry, expect the Warriors to be aggressive to do that. They've always been aggressive going after big stars. But if they can't get Giannis, Kevin, I think it's more likely the Warriors hold their powder and wait for the summer to potentially reorient their roster then. And as for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Tim Connolly, Kevin, is one of the more aggressive GMs in the league. We saw a year ago they tried to get Kevin Durant to pair him with Anthony Edwards. I am sure they'll do whatever they can to try to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. However, this Minnesota team has absolutely no draft capital to trade, and they only really can move players. So the idea of them finding a way to get Giannis will be difficult. And again, if they can't get him, perhaps they try to address their point guard needs, something that's been an issue teams have noticed all season. But if they can't do that, I'd expect them to also look pretty similar to how they are right now if they can't get a Giannis trade done. And, Kevin, the whole league is going to be waiting probably for the next week to see if Giannis does get moved at all.
This certainly feels like a boom or bust situation over the next 6 days. Again, the NBA trade deadline is Thursday, February 5th. Tim Bontemps with the latest from the Garden Knicks Blazers. Meanwhile, coming off LeBron's emotional return to Cleveland and a beatdown by the Cavs, the Lakers are in the nation's capital to face the Wizards. And I don't know what you'll get from this young Washington team. They won 2 in a row after a 9-game losing skid, but LA's just 5-5 in their last 10 games. NBA reporter Dave McMenamin is on the scene in Washington, D.C. and joins us now. So Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves dealing with injuries. What's the latest on each? Then let's start with Luka first.
Yeah, Kevin, some good news for Luka Doncic. He's going to be playing tonight against the Wizards. Obviously, there was that scary moment in Cleveland where he backpedaled after shooting the three-pointer and didn't realize there was a 10-inch gap from the court down to the ground level. Very fortunate that he didn't have a more serious injury, but he's going to be in there tonight. And then Austin Reeves, we're still waiting on him. He's been out now 5 weeks since going out with a calf strain on Christmas Day. J.J. Redick was clear that there's been no setback as he has progressed towards a return, but it's not going to be tonight in Washington. It could be as soon as Sunday at the Garden against the Knicks. And hey, there's no NFL football this weekend. Everybody should be watching Knicks-Lakers on Sunday at the Garden. Could be LeBron James' last trip to MSG.
Okay, and keep in mind, too, Reeves averaging a career-high 27 points per game before that injury. Lakers 9.5-point road favorites tonight in D.C. Dave,